and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about ATEEZ Guerrilla, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the video and the trailers that anticipated this comeback to see how they connect to the storyline told in the diary. As always, bear in mind that this video will contain spoilers for the diary, so please proceed with caution if you want to read it for yourself. Now, Guerrilla is a song co-written by Honjung and Mingi that portrays ATEEZ's desire to become a voice of freedom that brings change in a restricted world. In the song, the members become part of a ritual guerrilla whose goal is to help the world wake up with their music, and in doing so they sabotage a flawed system that brings people to conform and let go of their dreams and emotions. This is a world that ATEEZ don't want to live in, so in the song the members rebel against the numbness of this society and encourage you to make a move in order to join the guerrilla. Now, even if this is a message of revolution that can be very much applied to our reality, the subject matter of the song is also tightly connected to ATEEZ's storyline, which this time around is more relevant than ever considering what the song is actually about. Since the World Episode 1 movement marks the beginning of a new era, Guerrilla introduces us to a new stage of the story, where ATEEZ have successfully come back to the street land and have joined forces with the resistance of the Black Pirates. Back in the Fever series, we discovered that the home dimension of the Black Pirates is a dystopia ruled by a government that deprived people of any emotion. They banned art, they used a toxic gas that gives illusion as a form of mind control, and now we discover that people are also conditioned by a chip implanted in the ear without their knowledge. In the previous chapter, ATEEZ had to free the Black Pirates from the bunker of the Android Guardians, who are giants dressed in white that act as the law enforcement of this world. As we saw back in Deja Vu, this intervention caused the Cromer to break and Yosang to get stuck in the dystopia by himself. With the help of Left Eye, however, which is the character that appears in both the trailer and the video, the Black Pirates were able to free Yosang like we saw in both Say My Name and Answer Ode to Joy. Like what happened in Answer, them basically saving each other led ATEEZ and the Black Pirates to join forces, so in Guerrilla we saw ATEEZ's first intervention as active members of the resistance. Now, much like we were reminded in Chapter 1 Movement The Awakening of Summer, the Streetland are currently under the control of the government, which indoctrinates people through education and uses mind control to do the rest. This is something that we knew since back in Fever, but this time around the diary also gives us the name of the main antagonist of the story, which is none other than Z. Now, in the diary, Z is described as both the ruler as well as the symbol of this world, and in the first trailer it was presented as an AI spelling out the dogma of the Z world. In this reality, people are brainwashed into thinking that everything is fine, that people are always right, and because of that, the government is always right as well. In this perfect world without cracks, citizens are invited not to question what they're told, because questions lead to cracks in the system, and cracks lead to fear. In this reality, fear and other emotions are considered bad, because emotions are chaotic and work against the order and perfection that this world wants to achieve. Now, as you can imagine, ATEEZ and the resistance completely disagree with this ideology. In turn, they think that imperfection is beautiful because it's exactly what makes us human. Being alive means to be imperfect, so ATEEZ's quest is to wake up the world with art, because art is able to shake people to the core and bring emotions back into the world. As it was explained through Left Eye's monologue in Chapter 2, the goal of the resistance is not so much to force people to rebel, because fear is big, and if they did so, they would be no different than Z's government. Rather, what Left Eye encourages them to do is actually to wake the world in order to give people freedom of choice. If Z doesn't want any crack in the system, ATEEZ are going to deliver exactly that. They are going to create a small crack in the controlled environment of the dystopia, and through this crack they are going to remind people of what it really means to be alive. You see, in the diary, this world is indeed perfect from afar, but looking closely it's also deprived of any humanity, color and beauty. People are described as mannequin-like, and this description is also referenced in Guerrilla, where Jongo says that they cannot live like a duplicated doll. This is why Left Eye and the resistance want to retrieve people's emotions and want to make their frozen heart beat again. Whether people will then join the resistance or not, it will be up to them to decide, but in the meantime, ATEEZ's goal is to get out into the world and make it move once again. Now, in both the trailers and the video, we see that ATEEZ are able to do that by infiltrating the ranks of the Guardians in order to move forward with their plan. At the end of trailer 1 leading up to the MV, for instance, we see that the city is full of screens and speakers that are meant to broadcast the message of Z everywhere. Because of that, the first way ATEEZ decide to crack this controlled environment is actually to hack the system and broadcast their own message instead. If in the diary the message is a speech about embracing your imperfection, however, in the video the message is the song itself, because music is their weapon and they use it to push people to feel something and free themselves from the lies that they've been told. If you look closely at the beginning of the video, we see the members in disguise appearing and disappearing all of a sudden. This is because ATEEZ are actually using the chromer in order to advance their plan. If you remember, back in Deja Vu the chromer broke, but that was the device that existed in this dimension. The chromer they're using now is the one from our world that ATEEZ actually stole to reunite with Yosang, as we saw back in Rhythm Ta. With this device, ATEEZ are able to teleport everywhere they want, so even if the Guardians try to catch them, the chromer helps them to stay under the radar. As we see in the video, ATEEZ use many different ways to create the crack in the controlled link. They record their own musical message to move the masses, they hack the system in order to spread it, they start dancing in the street to fill people with emotion, and they use visual art to achieve the very same goal as well. Another cool method of resistance, however, is the one involving flyers, which in the video we see being spread by the members themselves, but also falling from a zeppelin with a giant A painted on it. Now this is a very cool part of the story, because according to the diary, the zeppelin is actually being driven by the Black Pirates themselves, who are not only spreading flyers, but also something much more important that in the video doesn't actually appear. Now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this part of the diary actually answers an important question that we had a while back, more specifically when the video for Dreamers actually came out. Back then we saw the members holding a strange device that at the time we never saw before, but now in the diary we finally get to understand what that is. According to the writing, this is a machine called Breaker, and if you allow one of these cubes to touch the chip, it will interfere with the control link of the government and make it see reality for what it is. In the diary, ATEEZ and the Black Pirates are spreading these breakers everywhere, and if people want to, over time they might also connect them to the Black Link, which in turn is the system that puts them in contact with the resistance. As mentioned by Left Eye, this will be up to each individual to decide, because ATEEZ's goal is to give people the freedom of choice, and this also involves letting people side with the government if this is what they wish to do. One thing that Z is right about is the fear is very dangerous, because it makes you do things that you wouldn't do otherwise, and by the looks of it, this might also be an important thing moving forward. If we take a look at the video, for instance, we see that at the end, a child infiltrates the bunker of the resistance. In the diary, this child found one of the breakers and is now free from the mind control, but when he did the same to his older brother, the boy was overcome by fear and didn't accept his freedom in a positive way. Seeing this reaction, the child became scared that the Guardians would discover his brother and send him to the Guardians Island in order to be disposed of. For context, Guardians Island is the same place that we saw back in Deja Vu, and where Yosan was held prisoner back in Say My Name, and this place is not only a prison, but a literal termination center for the resistance and the people that fail to adjust to the mind control. In this reality, people can live up to 200 years, and because of that, they stay in school for 40 years. At the end of this time, people are examined by the Guardians, and if they see the students are not fully controlled, they will be sent to this termination center. Since the older boy is approaching the exam, the child is scared for his sibling and wants the Black Pirates to help, and ATEEZ obviously accept, also because it falls perfectly in line with their next move. You see, as we see in the video, both boys are actually students at the Prestige Academy, which is the main education center of the Streetland. The resistance already planned to go into the school because they actually want to install mirrors and windows as another way to break people's mind control. According to the lore, the government destroyed any reflective surface that allows people to see themselves for what they are, because as long as people can recognize themselves, they are very difficult to control. Covering mirrors and windows simplified the process, so the next step is to undo it, starting from the most prestigious school, educating the next generation of workers. In the next episode, we'll probably see ATEEZ infiltrating the Prestige Academy in order to save the boy's brother and help the students finally see themselves, but to know how this will play out, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.